Hello, and here we are, session 12, SEPP Cooking Show. All December during the Cultural Festival, which is being held at Nan Tien. Duck down there if you've got a chance. It's such a great event. And while we're at it, here's the Nan Tien t-shirt, but we also have these lovely t-shirts, the Nan Tien 2030 campaign t-shirts, which we asked for a logo design, and you'll see it in Ling's shirt when he comes on in a minute. And one of our 11-year-old friends stuck his hand up and said, "I'll do it." And so we have a beautiful, young, environmentally conscious person's design on our t-shirts, and you can obtain those by looking at the link in the YouTube description. And so we've been talking about the SEPP 8 ingredients for our journey from the Anthropocene, which is what we're living with at the moment with the massive human impact, and journeying to another place where we live in mutual benefit with the planet, called the Symbiocene. Eminently achievable. In fact, it's underway already, this transition, but there's no time to lose, and it's not time for a rest on making that transition yet. And as we're making that transition, SEPP is Spiritual Environmental Preservation Practice, a community of practice, is aiming to build a community to participate in that journey with all the different things that are needed to carry us along on that journey, and for that journey to be a good place to be, surrounded by friends, filled with purpose, making progress, making a contribution. And we've just started talking about the 8 ingredients of the SEPP, of the journey, which is kind of a framework. We've talked about setting out, we talked about keeping on, now we're going to talk about foundations. And one of the things that Venerable Master Hsing Yun has said is that where there's Dharma, there's a way. And so this is from a Buddhist statement, but nonetheless, you could also look at it from another kind of a statement, which is where there is the spiritual, there is a way. And so it's not just Buddhist practice, but it's of course practice from other religions and other spiritual practices as well. Ethics and values are also a way as well, and allow us to navigate the challenging times of these situations. So from a Buddhist point of view, what kind of foundations do we have as we're making this journey? Things that we can rely on, things that can give us some solace for the challenges that we face. So, well, one of the basic things is the Four Noble Truths. This is where the Buddha tells us about understanding about suffering is caused, and if it's caused, then we can do something about it. Talk about the cessation of suffering, and that leads to talk about the fourth noble truth, the Eightfold Path, which is a practice path to put that into action. There's also things about the 12 dependent links. This kind of emphasizes the cycle of existence, but also it really makes a point about cause and effect. And so this is an important thing to carry us forward with confidence, because we know that cause and effect is in progress. We're all still intact. Okay.
Sorry about that.
Nothing like a small interruption to test our resilience. And so there's a lot of things in Buddhism that we can use to apply to this transition situation where we're going to achieve a viable mode of human living and make this journey. Oneness and coexistence is one that stands out for me. It's to realise that even though we might feel like a separate person, we are nonetheless one with everything, because we are interconnected very, very closely with our world and with others. Just imagine that, think about your breath. As you're breathing in that oxygen, which is keeping us alive. And where did that oxygen come from?
Trees.
Comes from trees, from green plants, and it comes from algae in the ocean as well, green algae in the ocean. So without those trees and those green plants doing things, well, life wouldn't be so good. But as we breathe out, we're breathing out carbon dioxide. And where does that go to? So the trees, with that same process where they're making oxygen, the photosynthesis, where they're also taking in carbon dioxide to make the wood in the trees. And so, there's, if you start to look at all these relationships, we're deeply in symbiosis with the rest of the planet. It's just that our ways of thinking, our ways of being at the moment are leading us to do things that are extractive from the environment and destructive and leaving desolation. And what we're looking to do is to change that so that in our thinking and in our ways of being, we can be working with mutual benefit for ourselves and the environment. And like I mentioned, this is already underway. There's plenty of examples of how this is working with regenerative agriculture, renewable energy and all this sort of thing. There's just, and there's millions of people getting on with this job at the moment as well. And of course, there's a lot about heartfulness. So how do we put our heart into action in this situation as well? Okay, so let's pop over to Ling now, and she's going to lead us in a rather amazing looking array of ingredients here. So let's see what she's got in mind.
First of all, auspicious greeting, everybody. Thank you so much once again for joining us today. Like Tom was saying, we're supposed to be at Nantian Temple, but we choose to stay home maybe this is called our own retreats, but we would like to share our retreat and the time that we actually have with you all. And I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands from the past, present, and emerging. Gado Gado salad. For those who actually come from Indonesia, you might actually go, hey Ling, this is not really Gado Gado. This is my versions of Gado Gados. So what do I use today? I have got some bean sprout. I also have bitter melon, chili, carrots, lime, some fresh herbs, beans, eggs, the tea eggs that we cooked in the other sessions. So this is what actually happened with the shells. But once you actually shelled it, that's how it actually looked like. It's marbles. It's so beautiful and it tastes really good. It tastes really delicious. This morning we used those eggs in our melted sandwich. And some mangoes as well. I also have cut some mangoes and tomatoes and also grapes that actually being peeled. All right, so mushroom. I have got some water that already actually boiling, and I'll just heat them up. So what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to pop this one into the hot water. So if you actually wanted to shorten the cooking time and to save energy and save time, then we can actually put the lids on whatever it is that we are cooking. There's water in there, there's no salt, there's nothing at all, just water. So I'm actually going to pop everything into it. And as I'm actually popping that in, I also mindfully was observing the changes. This is scientifically, I'm learning, seeing things change before my eyes. Everything subject to change. If you haven't noticed that yet, nothing stay forever. So thank you so much to Impermanent. These two shall be past. If you're happy, if you are sad, if you're angry, these two shall pass. Nothing stays the same forever. So I'm actually pop those ones in there. I just want to branch them quickly. You can see that how beautiful it is. It's depending on the names, which I can actually call it the rainbow. Originally, I was going to call it the rainbow bowl, but I'm not going to call it rainbow bowl anymore. What is the Indonesian?
Gado Gado.
Gado Gado. So we actually going to call it Gado Gados. I can smell these beautiful tea eggs. Smells so beautiful. Now while that is actually cooking, I don't want to overcook it. I just want it to brown it very quickly. Let me grab that one. Get them ready. Some of the ingredients is actually uncooked. So what I'm actually going to do in here, I have got the lime juice and the garlics and the chili. I'm going to add the soy sauce to it. Now why is it that I'm actually using jar? If I'm actually use jar to make my dressing, if anything that left over at all, I can leave it in the jar and don't have to worry about it. Less washing. Now another thing also that is actually mainly for this dish, mainly is the dressing. I can cook this. Normally, traditionally, you would actually put this peanut butter or peanut grind up in a little saucepan and cook it. So that way it actually will taste better. But of course, I'm from Laos. That's my excuse. So I'm not following the traditional way of making the dressing. It's quite beautiful. If you haven't tried this one yet, the dressing can be putting in the fridge for a couple days. It's quite beautiful. Let me dish this one out. Now, as you actually, I don't know if you have noticed it yet, make sure that it's certified organic. That is actually my choice. If I can actually get them from made in Australia, that would actually even make me even more happier. And it's the glass jar, not bottles. So I can actually hear the boiling behind me. That's all I need for now. So I'm actually going to dish that up. Now this morning I have used this dish and I'm very lazy to wash dishes. So what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to pop them into this. You can see that beautiful rainbow colors. When we actually eating, if we can actually aim at 5 colors minimum, that will be really, really good for our health. Now with the water that we use in here, we can actually throw it away, wait until it cool down and give it to put it into the flowers, into the garden, or we can leave it and make soup out of this. Because in here they actually have got not just the flavor, this is actually then the stalks. Last one I'm actually going to make, I'm going to pop that in. I'm not very good at eating vegetables. I have to tell you the secret. I'm terrible at eating greens.
There you go. So you can be a vegetarian and not really eat vegetables. What?
So what is it that actually helped me to enjoy the vegetables is the dressing or the sauce. So to this guy, all these things that I have to pop into my mouth to keep this body going. Make it interesting, make it creative, make it artistic, make it fun. Life is so short. Make it fun, even in the kitchens. So here I have got it in here with my, and the dill. I'm actually going to pop the dills in there as well. Now I'm going to mix up my dressing. Any comment, any questions, anybody? Like Tom was saying earlier, we can make impacts. Whatever we do, doesn't matter how small it is, we are making an impact. So being vegetarian, have even less meat. I know that Bill is a vegan, so as Sava, and Tom and I are vegetarian. We are not vegan. We still eat eggs. So we actually can make an impact when we are, and Hsing as well. Hsing also a vegetarian as well. So, you know, like even being vegetarian, we are making an impact. We are reducing our carbon footprint. Our mind, in the previous sessions, I was talking about what our Master Hsing Yun was talking about. It have to be easy. Say good word, that is making a small impact. Say good word is not necessarily just saying to Tom or to our grandkids. It's also saying it to ourselves. Rather than calling ourselves stupid or calling ourselves names, we can actually calling ourselves not calling ourselves anything that nasty at all. So say good word to ourselves when we actually have conversation with ourselves. Think good thought, not just think good thought about the environment. It's also think good thought about the plants, you know, the vegetables, the flowers, the whatever it is that outside of us that we cannot control. And the main important things, like I said, ourselves, you know, have that practice where think good thought to ourselves all the time. Make it a habit, make it an attitude. And also having an attitude of gratitude as well, rather than it's actually complaining about this and complaining about that. We can actually find excuses and see lots of things that we can complaining about. But rather than that, we can actually have the gratitude, the attitudes of a gratitude. So that way our life and our day is actually much better. Now, another one is actually do good deeds. It have to be easy. You know, 3 things, the 3 G's. Think good thought, say good words, do good deeds. So what is it that we can actually do that is actually good? Pull out a weed, that is actually doing good things. Pick up a piece of rubbish, that's do good deeds. Not picking up, you know, when we have a choice of a menu, not choosing meat, that is do good deeds. All right, so you can actually see that that is actually, for me, is actually done. It's quite yummy. It's quite tasty. So I did not put any sugar in here because the peanut butter is already actually quite sweet already. You can have different textures of peanut butter. You can use the smooth one, or you can actually use the rough one. My choice was actually the rough and tumble versions. Now I can actually pour my dressings in here, but then the dressing will get caught onto the baking dish. So instead, I am going to dish it. That was left over from Tom this morning. He did not eat his salad. So I'm actually going to discard that, put it underneath. So hopefully Tom will eat his salad from this morning.
I'm healthy after eating this.
Yeah.
Leave some for yourself, Ling.
I'm a funny vegetarian, Thomas. with tomatoes, it's if you actually tomato is actually very good for boys' issues, for prostate, but not the raw tomatoes. It have to be the cooked tomato that is actually have got the benefit. So as you can actually see how much I love Tom, I give him all the tomatoes. I'll just add the he doesn't like the eggs that much, so I'll just give him 3 instead of 4. Now Tom doesn't like grape at all, so I'm going to put some mangoes, some green mangoes on top there as well. Top it up, something green, something chewy. There you go. Now I remember my mom when towards the new year and the 7 days within the new year, she always actually cook something that is actually with 7 colors. That is actually auspicious. That is something that to bless ourselves, to bless our body, to bless our mind, to bless our beings. To have that appreciations, of the 7 colors. So there you have got it. The
Gado Gado.
Gado Gados. Now
Blacktown style.
Blacktown style. This flowers is edible. It's from Delusions. So there you go. Last word that I would like actually to say. If you actually like the t-shirt that I'm wearing, it's certified organic. And to support 2030, to support what we do, you can become our volunteers. Just a little thought that is actually also helping as well, or joining our course that we actually going to run in January. Or you can actually wear the t-shirts proudly. $25 a t-shirt. That will be grateful if you can actually support us. Thank you so much, everybody.